Jamie.
Hey guys, welcome to Ringsiders. We have got the fourth member. We've completed it. The righteous Bateman. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Old. I threw my back out the other day, existing. So, you know,
I think it's
there
going around
is.
though, because I've thrown my back out as well. I'm using a walking stick at the
He
moment. So.
is.
Oh,
Yeah.
keeping good company. Then I don't feel
Oh
quite
yeah,
so bad.
yeah.
Then there we go.
Oh,
aside from that, a box of fuzzy ducks though. So
Oh,
doing
brilliant.
okay.
I mean, I just want to say as well, is that like a little is that a Darth Vader towel or a poster in the background?
So this is a Darth Vader towel that I had. That I don't think it was intended to be a gift from an ex, but I ended up with it when we separated somehow. And so I live in a loft in LA, so there aren't like proper doors on most things. We're just kind of tinted off, and are like, which is why this looks the way it does.
I bet you're
Um,
not even a Star Wars fan, are you? It's just, it's just,
I it's a I don't hate the series. It's not my favorite.
yeah.
But it's I enjoy the Star Wars media that I've taken in, but it's not an obsession of mine. I
And
guess
that's
that's probably the best way to put it.
probably the best way to be as well, because
Yeah.
if there's one thing you need to know about Star Wars fans is they're very similar to wrestling fans, which can be great and bad, depending on how you take it.
So
Yeah.
so a side gig I have is I'm a docent, which like I basically take people through this big exhibit
Mm.
of here in downtown LA. It's called Icons of Darkness. It's great. That wasn't not meant to be a plug, even though I guess it was on accident,
You
but
plug
not
away,
meant,
man. You plug away.
not meant to be. But we have a big group of like a lot of screen used Star Wars costumes and whatnot. And at one point, I always make sure to point out that I'm very aware of how particular Star Wars fans are about
Yeah, yeah.
the media and how they consume it, and which I get it. Like I'm the same way about the stuff that like really gets me going. Like if it's a little bit off,
Yeah.
oh, mm, how dare you?
That's how any fandom is, though, isn't it? I guess, like you
I
said.
I feel, yeah, for the
Yeah.
most part. The important thing I think is try not to get too far out ahead of everything and realizing that whatever fandom it is, it's being made for a mass audience, not just the audience of one. And sometimes it can be hard for speaking as a fan. Sometimes it can be really hard to like accept that and be like, well, just because I didn't like this thing or this thing doesn't mean the whole deal was bad. It's just
Mhm.
these parts weren't for me.
It wasn't
And those
made
parts
for-
could have
Yeah.
right. It's like those parts could have hit real hard for someone else, and it just wasn't for me.
And I think
So that was a weird side tangent, but yeah, fandom's weird.
that translates to wrestling, though, doesn't it, as well? Like,
Very
there's
much
so
so.
many
My
different
God,
types
yeah.
of wrestling. I think it was when I spoke to Mike Quackenbush, he was saying it like there's so many different flavors of ice cream, which is all the different
Right.
styles of wrestling. You're not gonna like every flavor of ice cream.
Right.
I was like, that's a very Mike Quackenbush thing to say, but it was true. Like, you're not gonna like all the types of
course.
wrestling out there, but there is gonna be some that you do like. So focus on those ones.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue nowadays. Even I do it. Like, I watch some wrestling and I'm like, oh, I didn't enjoy that. And I'm like, well, that's all right.
Someone else probably did.
Someone else did.
So-
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I do
But-
stuff like that all the time. I'll watch something and someone will be like, "Did you like it?" I'll be like, "Well, like not really." But that doesn't mean I thought it was bad either. It just like they put in, like a lot of effort was put in. Like they're clearly athletic and all that. Like things were done well. It just wasn't for me, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that they're bad at it necessarily. It just means that bit of that match wasn't for me, and that's fine.
Oh yeah, totally get it. But speaking of wrestling as well, obviously we'd have to talk Ring of Honor. I mean, what was your thoughts? Obviously, when the hiatus was announced, and I know they've just announced the Texas show Mania weekend. I mean,
Right.
what's your thoughts been? It must have been a bit of a whirlwind.
I mean, we were on if you've heard anyone else talk about it, we're on a Zoom call sort of like this, but populated by a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've told many people, like when we first got the call, because we would routinely do this sort of thing and kind of get like the COVID protocol updates and whatnot. And then so we did all that, and I was like, okay, well, that'll be about it. And then they just asked all the contracted talent to stay on the call, and that was a bit. That was like okay, well. And then, as things progressed, we were informed of the current situation, and I feel you could. It's weird to say this over because it's a Zoom, but because that was also a Zoom. But like you could, if you had been in the room with people, like you would have felt the temperature change, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like the thing in most horror movies where they're searching for ghosts. Like we all have been able to see our breaths at this point. Like, so we have some news. Oh man, did it just get cold in here? Like all the inner, it was just like one of those like, oh. Okay. Well, it was in my situation, like my deal was about to my deal was about to expire anyway, so I was literally waiting to hear from main office to talk to someone about my deal coming up for the next year. Which luckily rolled over through the end of December, but like it went from also fun bit. It was extra fun for me because I was on vacation with my girlfriend. So, like we had rented a mountain cabin. So like we had come. So luckily, the meeting was on the last day. So just like, babe, we got to make sure we're back in town in time so I can have solid Wi-Fi for this meeting. That's going to be very important. Thinking I'm going to do this meeting, going to hear about the protocol updates, and then like the next week or two, because the next tapings were a week or two out. Then we're going to hang out, and then at the next taping, we're going to renegotiate to financially secure another couple years. And then that did not happen. And just like okay, we're back down the mountain, everything's good. Oh, wait, what? Okay. Well, all right, that'll be. And then shutting it off and having to be like, babe, the meeting's over now. It was, we got a lot to talk about. It's fun. But I clearly not alone. I'm sure it was just as much of a shock to anyone. I think we all sort of felt like some sort of change was going to be coming, but not that. That was something I think that just like the trope of the end of the movie where they can't think of how to wrap something up, so the guy's like jogging across the street and just gets T-boned by like a moving truck, and then roll credits. Like I think that's sort of how it caught most of us. Like, oh, I mean, well, something will be like, oh God. And then,
It caught us, didn't it, Callum? I was in bed with my girlfriend, and I think she thought I was weird because I was like, I can't believe what I'm reading. My friend texted me like, what the hell's this? She thinks I'm weird because I'm reading this message about wrestling, and I sent it to Callum. Callum's growing up on Ring of Honor, aren't you, Callum?
Yeah, right. To me, I was reading it as if like I was just reading about someone dying. I was like, what the hell? And then the next day we had an interview scheduled with Carrie Silkin, who is a regular on the show. And I was like, well, that kind of is good timing in that sense. We can maybe ask him a little bit. And then when we spoke to Carrie, it was like, what's going on? And he went, I don't have a fucking clue.
I think Carrie summed it up just about how most of us felt then. Because I had friends and family members, at least that follow wrestling, asking like roughly the same, like, what's going to go on? Like, no one fucking knows. And if they do, those who might have a little bit more are probably being careful with that information, which I get as well too. It was just it caught everyone off guard. It was real weird, but now we're loose, so to speak. We're back out in the mix.
Well, I mean, we spoke to Dutch a couple of weeks ago, and I said to Dutch, and I'll ask you it as well. I mean, the wrestling world wouldn't be what it is without Ring of Honor. I mean, is that something you agree with?
Oh, absolutely. 1,000%. I remember reading about the first show online, like reading the card and the lineup and the results. And I remember back when there used to be DVD stores and malls and whatnot, and going into, I think it was a Suncoast, and finding, or it may have been a Best, whatever, someplace that sold DVDs and before even Blu-rays were a thing, but finding just a generic copy of the first Ring of Honor card. And I remember I was so excited when I got it, and I took it home and like watched it straight through like 3 or 4 times, just because some of the guys, I started in Oklahoma, so I started in the middle of the country. And I had a vague recollection of some of these names, and I had seen some of the East Coast and Midwest guys, but it was a great chance to get a chance to see so much more.
Yeah.
And also the 3-way, I believe, was the main event of the first one, still holds up, I feel.
Does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Danielson, who would have thought that low-key Danielson and Daniels had a good match, like that. Yeah, I know. I know. It doesn't, that you put all the numbers in the equation and somehow you get the answer, and you have to double check over and over again. It's like, this doesn't seem like it adds up, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you really expect Loki.
3 of the best of all time. Weird.
Yeah.
Had a good match.
Who would have thought they'd have a good match? The thing is, at the time, I know that it was nearly 20 years ago now, but they were still all competing at such a high level then, and they've only got better, and I think we all, even back then, we were classing them as some of the best wrestlers in the world, and we still are now, 20 years later.
For sure. That's the fact that Christopher Daniels is still performing at the level he is, and if we want to extrapolate that backwards, how long he has been performing at that high level
makes me sick, if I'm honest with you.
It's upsetting in all the right ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like, there's something to be mad at. Like, this is like, I had best of VHS tapes of Christopher Daniels, like, and just still to this day, like, I'm sure I could throw any random Christopher Daniels match on from this modern era and still be like, yeah, no, this still, all of it's still good. It's real upsetting.
When you look at the when you look at the first Ring of Honor card as well, you had both the Briscoes on there as well, and you had them on the last Ring of Honor show too.
Yeah,
and those are people who were literally there from start to finish. And I know it's not technically over yet, but that's crazy. I find, like, on the first show and the last show, that's
2 dates so far, at least. Yes.
Yeah.
It's wild. I know, like, the Briscoes had literally been there since the doors opened.
Yeah.
So, Dallas will be interesting, because it'll be interesting to see what card that they put on now that I think it's been fairly widely put all over the place. They're not planning on they're basically planning on operating like any other super indie. At least that's what I've seen and or heard. So anyone else's good guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I had a similar thing to what you had.
How do you feel about that? Because when we look at the older Ring of Honor, that's what it always was, a super indie.
Oh yeah.
From the early days, it was a super indie, in the same way that PWG is a super indie. Because, it's never really had contracted talents, but they've always used the cream of the crop of the independents at that time. Do you think that's a good strategy for Ring of Honor going forwards as a fan?
I think it definitely can be, and I think we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
I honestly, like I said, it could go with everything the way it is now. It could go in any possible direction. I'm assuming most Ring of Honor fans will tune in at least for the first show to see how it goes, and then maybe make their choices post that. Like I said, if it's not the product that they're used to or they're looking for, they might, like any product, if you completely retool it and then throw it back out there. But some folks might look at this as the company getting back to its roots. So, like I said, it'll be real interesting to see, one, how they restructure, who they bring back, et cetera, who they use that they hadn't before. Will they start using, if they start traveling around again, if they start using like handfuls of local people from that area, or if they're going to find and stay in a centralized location and kind of like granted smaller shows, but kind of run like that.
Yeah.
Or like so it'll be real interesting to see how they do it. And I know just about as much as anyone else at this point. So
well, speaking of you guys branching out and doing your own things now after Ring of Honor, we saw Vincent show up in Impact this week, and obviously that's cool. As a Righteous fan, a Ring of Honor fan, cool to see the Ring of Honor guys invading Impact. Is there any chance you're going to have Vincent's back down the line?
Oh, I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, I don't think that like Vincent and Dutch and I like still keep in contact, talk, I think, every day.
Well, I mean, you're still the six-man tag team champions.
Yeah, I said there's also that.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere here. I don't know. Oh, I can see it. It's there at the back. But yeah, no, we still six-man tag team champions. Like we don't have a plan to stop being associated with each other or teaming together. We'll see which way fate takes that, but and getting that put together and coordinating it. But there's always a plan. We're always looking into as much as we can to the three of us. Vita too. I shouldn't keep saying the three of us. But like we all got along real well anyway. So like, yeah, so we're definitely looking for ways to get us back together and closer together and more.
Yeah, I think we mentioned we said this to Kerry last time, I think with Callum as well, that we would love to see the Righteous stay together wherever you go.
Yeah,
I think you guys are just incredible together, so it would be great to see you stick together. I know I said to you before we started recording, I'm a huge Righteous mark.
If I had a penny for every interview,
honestly, I'm the biggest mark. How did that all come about? Obviously, the Righteous joining with Vinny. How was that all brought to you?
I think they started planting the seeds. I think it all came together December of 2019. I think because I think my deal started technically in October 2019, like literally Halloween rolling into November 1st, because of course it did. That's felt kind of fitting. And then they said the group itself, I think, officially formed in the 19th. The way I've been led to understand is like Vinny and I had followed each other on social media and whatnot, and then when we finally met, it was like, oh yeah, weird that we get along real well already and everything. This kind of checks out. And then I think they presented him like, hey, we think we're going to do this. And I think I was picked, and I think he may have handpicked a few others or suggested a few others, and then it took us forever to get Dutch, because I know Dutch had been mentioned a handful of times before they were finally like, yes, also this one. But I think that also fit, because then we had like your mastermind. The mastermind, the monster. You had your strong female presence, which was Vita, and then you sort of had. I feel I play sort of like a utility role. Like what do you need? Like that sort of deal. But and also I felt like visually too, we all sort of felt like different forms of horror stories in a way.
Yeah.
Because Vincent, I feel, seems like vintage or desert horror.
I get a very Devil's Rejects kind of vibe with Vincent.
Which I think at least at one point was definitely maybe even parallel thought, because we all but I feel that Vincent, very deserty, like a very arid feel. Dutch, especially when he first showed up, and still I feel like almost backwoods type, like your Hatchet style horror sort of thing. And then I felt like I looked like I could have been drug out of the gutter of any major city. So and then Vita kind of like, I think, was the thread that sort of connected all that, because her look her look is consistent but shifts slightly.
Mm.
And then toward the end when we were doing the pure righteous deal, I felt like it was leaning way culty, like Midsummer meets Am Shinrikyo sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
think what I like about
please.
your character is when I was reading on the Ring of Honor website a few months ago, it describes you as a handsome sociopath with violent tendencies. And I was like, yeah, is that what it says on the Ring of Honor website about you? And I was like, that's a great description, really. Is that how you describe the Bateman character?
Oh, that's where they got it from. I said,
right. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not the worst looking guy. And then the you can attribute to any number of like the other stuff. Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood describing to the other guy on the beach. It's like, I have no feelings for most people. Don't feel much about most people. I hate most other people, including myself.
Yeah.
That sort of deal. It's like, yeah, that sort of encompasses that. And like, yeah, a sociopath isn't a psychopath. There's a lot of wiggle room to play
Sure.
there as well. There's way more room in the sandbox. And yeah, you kind of lean into those violent tendencies, which helps on the job.
Yeah,
if you're not afraid to get your hands dirty,
I think they make the most interesting characters, so to speak. Like those characters where they've got that unpredictability about them. They're not really in it for anyone else apart from themselves. I've always liked that kind of psychopath character. I don't know why. But is there anyone in particular in the wrestling business, or even not in wrestling? It could be anybody in like acting or anything, or movies that you based the character on or took influence from.
Yeah, there's a bit of Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis from Gangs of New York.
Yeah, I was thinking that one. Yeah,
I said, and that's where also the Dead Eye and whatnot. That constantly shifts and it's always the same color or pattern. Weird, huh? But like that sort of thing. There's a heap of my dad in it. Not that my dad's a sociopath or a terrible human, but like so the way I overall look at the character is, it's like I try to present myself as like True Crime the wrestler, to a certain extent, but try not to be so over the top. Which is, I've had people be like, well, sometimes in promos, like you cut jokes. Like, well, yeah, not every serial killer or sociopath is just like this dead-eyed slobbering monster.
Yeah,
like I was in my car a little bit ago listening to a podcast. They're talking about a horrible human being, Danny Rawlings, the Gainesville Ripper. He randomly approached someone. They went to some artist. He was like, I'll pay $100 to do my portrait. And then they went back to her place, ate food, watched Good Morning Vietnam, and left without anything happening. Like that, like it's like these people still function in your world. And some of them, yes, some of them are exactly like, right what it says on the tin, so to speak. Some of them are exactly that. And some of them, you wouldn't know, or you would know. You get that, you always hear everyone's like, oh, I had no idea. It's like, then you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Most things you'll hear like, yeah, like they fit in, but you got a weird feeling about them. Very few are like, oh, nothing, they were fine always. And then just one day, that's generally not how that goes. But like my dad is like, he was a fairly stern man, but he was always trying to do what he felt was right by us, by his family growing up. Or our family growing up. So sometimes would I have liked for him to have been a little bit more laid back? Yeah, I think most people at some point would have liked their dad to have been a little bit more laid back and whatnot. But and of course, based how I felt like as a teen, it was, oh, this guy's a dick, and like not realizing it now as an adult looking back, it's like, oh, you are literally just doing your best. You have as much figured out at your age than as I, probably more so actually. You had way more figured out at your age than I do at my current. Like if I'm at your age looking back, oh, like I couldn't do it. Like I get it, but like those two Daniel Day-Lewis roles, my dad, a shotgun blast of various bits of true crime. The character Guts from the anime Berserk, mostly that straightforward, driven, like, I'm going to keep swinging my sword until I can't anymore. Like, there are those of us who, so there are those of us who find peace in the fog of war, that sort of shit, that sort of idea, just that you may beat my ass. I may know you're going to beat my ass when I'm walking into the situation, but God damn it, I'm going to make you beat my ass to beat me. That sort of thing. Tenryu. I love Genichiro Tenryu, maybe my favorite wrestler of all time. Is once again just especially as he got older, like just a grumpy man who was sick of everybody's bullshit, and like would just once again just wade in, throwing chops to the throat and punches to the face like they were on sale, and like you were going to get the same Tenryu here. If he was making an appearance at Dragon Gate, you were going to get the same Tenryu as you were going to get in Noah, as you were going to get in All Japan. It's like, this is what I bring to the table, and it's going to be rough, and I'm going to be grumpy.
Well, I just want to say, on that same note, like, you portraying this character of Bateman, you're so good at doing it that you being so nice now and humble is actually throwing me off. Like, you're actually a really cool dude. But because I've seen your character so much, it's actually throwing me off that you're really nice.
I have been described in my personal life as you are I think it was Brody King who just said it once to someone or to me. It was like, you're the nicest, most standoffish person I've ever met.
Right.
It's like, because a lot of folks will see the character, and then sometimes, like, if I'm still trying to get a read on someone, I'll still be polite and like fairly cordial, but like a bit more reserved and whatnot. And then to quote my mom from when I was young, and then once I get comfortable, it's like, son, we never thought you were going to start talking. And then when you did, we never thought you were going to shut the fuck up. So like, it's like that sort of deal. Like I get that a lot though. It's like, you are nothing like the character that you portray on that you're nothing like the character. It's like, yeah, I think sometimes that's supposed to be. I wouldn't want to be that character all of the time.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that would be a hard place to live, like always.
Well, before we obviously start to wrap things up as well, obviously New Japan Strong as well. You're working there. I mean, how much fun has that been for you at the moment? You've got the Stray Dog Army. I mean, you're having fun there?
I love New Japan Strong. It's the wrestling, the presentation. It's more along the lines of most of what I enjoy in wrestling as well. It's top the line talent, because you're either getting your dojo guys or your New Japan mainstays when they're available and they can show up. Even Japanese talent when they are available and when borders are open and we can get them. Like, it's such a great place to be. Like overall, as far as overall, it's a great place. It's a great company because it's one of the few places that literally offers the best talent in the world. Hard to argue the best solid hour of just straight up professional wrestling on the market. Like, show me another hour-long television show that is as consistently good and with that same type of product as Strong. And like, I'll wait on you, because you're gonna have to do some digging if you can do it.
Yeah, there was actually a discussion today going on Reddit, on Squared Circle, and Reddit's usually quite negative, but there was a lot of people saying that basically the same as you. Strong is the best hour of wrestling on TV right now, even including other shows like Rampage and stuff. And I'd have to agree, because I like Rampage, but on a consistency basis, Strong is good week to week. And that's why I watch it, because you know you're going to get a good hour when you watch it.
Right. Our talent roster, whether I like as many of them as I would like to or not, just personal standing, as far as business-wise, Stray Dog Army-wise, can't always get along with everyone, but because we all want that top spot. But
Yep.
the point is, overall, look at all the talent we have, or all the talent that will come and go. It is among, if not the very best place to be right now.
Absolutely. I mean, one of our own, I believe, is over there, Gabriel Kidd.
Gabe's awesome.
Have you spent much time around Gabriel?
Not a whole lot, but the time I have spent around, like, he's got all the promise in the world. Watch what he and Eddie did. Like, you can't watch that or hit the match with Gresham. I think he had one with Gresham recently. I believe.
Yeah.
Like regardless, once again, there's so much promise and potential there. It's fantastic to see. Gabriel is a world, like a lot of those younger kids on the Strong roster, world right there.
Yeah,
at their fingertips.
Yeah,
he's doing us proud.
Yeah,
he is. Before I let you go, man, as well, obviously, first of all, thank you so much. I don't know if I told you this, but I'm a righteous mark.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I don't remember where, but I've heard it.
Yeah. So
someone tell Sean Ross Sapp, get that leaked somewhere.
Get out there right now. I'd love to bring you back in the future as well, if you
for
if
sure.
that's cool with you, man. There's so much more to talk about. But before you do go, is there anything you want to promote? Anything, any merch, your social medias?
I have to look up my social media because that's how much I should probably pay better attention to that. On Instagram, Tyler Bateman Official. On Twitter, because I apparently was very edgy when I made my Twitter. I think it's Tyler Bateman 666.
I believe so, yes.
Yep, Tyler Bateman 666, because the devil.
Hey, just a little side note. On our YouTube at the moment, we're currently on 666 subscribers, so that's also quite spooky. So
everyone follow, but also no one else follow.
No one else follow. Keep it.
No one else, but also get more follow.
Yeah.
It's like when you hit those certain numbers, it's like, oh, if it could just stay this forever, but I need the growth.
Yeah,
so
when
I
you're
don't
on
want
420, I was also like that as well.
Yeah,
and
no, I got it.
Of course, but
yeah, so I'm sure once in the future when you get to 69, I'll just like everyone stop. Nice. Double nice. Nice 2 times. As far as things coming up, as far as I know, that is scheduled for sure. That is still on the schedule that I can announce. Let me find the next one, like I said, that I absolutely know that is still on the books right now, that has been announced, that I wouldn't be ruining anything or letting anything out above, is Prestige Pro Wrestling presents Rise Above, February 27th at the Glass House in Pomona. Ideally, like a month from now, I'll be in the future, and then I could be telling you guys how good the show went. Because the 27th is still quite a bit off, so I'm hoping everything still holds. But that's what I know that I have currently. So let's fill that calendar. Anyone who's listening to this,
hell yes, hell yes.
There's literally dozens of people listening right now.
He really bigs us up, man. He really does. But dude, it's been an absolute thrill for us. Like I say, I'm a massive fan. I can't thank you enough. We can't wait to bring you back. But for now,
for sure.
Bateman, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you letting me on here to ramble inanely. I think I got around to answering like a question or two. So
we spoke about a bit of wrestling. It's fine.
There we go. As long as it was mentioned once or twice, I think ideally everyone should be all right with it.
We're good. But dude, thank you so much, man. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man.